Hey, Tanner James, DJ TJ. Welcome back to the Peak Period Podcast, episode 13. This week we are talking all about performances. But first, before we get into that, if you haven't checked out last week's podcast on sales, really important. That podcast was awesome. So, sales is ultra important because if you can't sell your services, you don't have a business. You can't have a business. It's impossible. If you can't persuade people to use your services versus some other DJ, some other event company, some other an iPod, I think that's a huge issue. Everybody complains about the iPods and all this. Everything in life is a sale. So, the internet is selling these people on the fact that you don't need a DJ. You have to go in and sell them on the fact that they do need a DJ. And the good DJs in the industry do that. They go into a presentation saying X, Y, and Z. This is why you need a DJ. Here are the reasons. Here's why you need a professional DJ, not just any DJ. And that's how you have a great wedding. And so if we want to be successful, we need to look at, the successful DJs and see what they're doing. And what they're doing is they're getting really good at sales and they know how to persuade a client. And if you aren't persuading clients and they're meeting with you and they're saying, we're just going to use, whoever at cheaper DJ, whatever, sometimes, yes, they're never going to book a professional DJ, but a lot of the times they just don't know. And so if you don't educate the client, that will come back and hurt you. And then it's not the client's fault that they don't want to book with you. They think that you don't have value. So you have to build value and all that. So go ahead, go check that podcast out. That one's really good. There are also some awesome, really good podcasts in the past few weeks. Like I had somebody on, a photographer on, and he talked about getting on preferred vendor lists and giving some tips about that. And then I have some other guests that were really good and brought some really good tips and information. So definitely go back and check it out. But for this week's podcast, we are talking about performances and peak period. And so, the title of this podcast is the Peak Period Podcast. And if you don't know about the peak period, I'll kind of go into it, what it is, how to do it, how to get into it. And then in the end, I can talk about if you need some more info about the course that I have, the Perfect Performances course. But first, what is peak period? Peak period is basically a time of the night where the energy is the highest. Okay, so you may have heard this as peak hour in a club, and it's kind of the same thing. The only difference is, sometimes at different events, peak hour isn't necessarily the best word. So I like to use peak period because sometimes peak hour turns into 2.5 hours, and sometimes it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes, just depending on the event. If you have a 2-hour event, it's going to be a lot shorter. So that is kind of why I call it the peak period, because it just kind of works a little bit better, much more versatile. So peak period is basically this period of the night where the energy is the highest, and you can play almost any song that you want in peak period, and the crowd will love you. I joke around when I have my photographer and I say like, okay, I'm about to make them my minions, because once you get into peak period, you can literally play whatever you want. It is like they are your minions. You can play whatever you want and they will love it. But if you don't get into peak period, that's where the issues come in and it doesn't happen. That's where you get close, but it's just not all the way there. And that is where the issues come in. So let me go back a little bit and tell you why I put in a ton of work to figure all this out. When I was starting out, I was a good DJ, but as I kept working, I realized that some of my events were really good, like awesome, unbelievable events. And then I saw other ones that were just not the same. They just weren't to the same level. And it really hit me when I was doing a weekly club, because the demographics of the people were pretty close. But the difference was that some events, sometimes, some nights, they were just much better, and I didn't know why. I'm like, what is it? What is it that is so different between these two nights? Because I'm playing mostly the same music. It's the same demographics. I'm not playing in the same order, but relatively speaking, they were pretty similar. Okay, so like, the same music, I'm playing what they like and they like the music. And so why is it that sometimes they're just like some nights are just so much better than others? I could not figure it out. So what I did was I really I just spent hours and hours looking into playlists and what was going on and what happened. And this was a good night and what did I play? This wasn't a good night, what did I do? And then I kind of started figuring out the theory of what is going on here. And so then I started testing it out. I'm like, okay, let's see if this really does work. Because if it does work, this is kind of cool, right? And so I tested it out like 3 times in a row, and it worked every single time. And I'm like, okay, this kind of whole theory of the peak period works. And the bigger issue is how to get into peak period. So once I figured that out, that's where it kind of really changed. And so then I went into I'm like, okay, well, how do I know it just wasn't a fluke that I got 3 really good events in a row? And so I took it to the next step and I went back to normal. And exactly what I thought, the event wasn't the same. I went back to what I would normally do and it wasn't the same. So then I took it and I kept trying it. And every single time I worked this theory, it worked. Every single time. There was not one time. And so I really realized that it wasn't necessarily the crowd that didn't like the music. It's how I played the music and when I played the music and what I did and the different types of songs and a power song and a carry-on song and what these different things do and why, how they work and really can help benefit you. But I'm trying to figure this stuff out. And so once I kind of got the whole theory together, I gave it to some of my guys and I said, hey, try this out. I gave it to my DJ friends, some of my guys, and said, hey, try this out. Tell me what you think. And they came back to me and said it works every single time. And so then I knew, okay, this is like actually like pretty powerful. This is powerful stuff. And so if you don't get into peak period, what happens is people don't click. Okay, so there's a time in the night where when you play this one song, they click. But I realize it's not just one song and it's much deeper than that. And that's what I go into the course is what it is and what you should play to get into peak period and what you should not play to get to what you should never play in peak period and the 4 stages of the night and all this kind of stuff. But, what's really interesting is how I was thinking, well, I'm trying to push it off to other people and, it's the club, it's the night, it was a slow night. But that wasn't necessarily the issue. It was more what I was playing. And it's not that I didn't know how to read the crowd because I could read the crowd. And it's not that I didn't know the music that they liked because I knew exactly what they liked. The issue was the way I played it. And once I figured out what actually does and doesn't work, that's where it changed. And so, I've experienced some DJ performances and I'm analyzing what they're doing, right? And I see them in wherever it is, right? If it's kind of an outdoor setting, or if it's a party, or if it's a wedding, or if it's a club, or whatever it is, I'm looking at the DJ and I'm saying, okay, what are they doing? How are they doing it, right? I mean, we all kind of do that. What's going on here? And I realize that, not DJs don't do this because they don't know. And so that's why when I put it all together, I'm like, okay, this is really, really powerful and I need to get this out to people. And so that is actually how DJ TJ training started because I had this idea and I'm like, I had this theory and I'm like, what if I could get this out to people? It could change the whole entire industry because now these people they know how to have awesome performances. And then you won't get that DJ that night sucked because once you get into peak period, it's kind of hard to suck. I mean, it's possible, but it's much, much, much harder than, just playing the wrong music. And so that's why I put this whole thing together. And then I realized, well, okay, I 4X'd my DJ business in 8 months. And I'm like, okay, well, the performances was one part of it, but that wasn't necessarily everything. There were a lot of other parts like the sales aspect. How do you sell your services? How do you, put together your pricing and your packages? And do you give pricing over the phone? And how do you follow up with a client? What are some techniques that you can do? What are some things like how do you negotiate and build a relationship and building value in your services and showing your experience? And so then I kind of put together the sales section. And then I'm like, okay, well, there was a whole part of it about growing your business and how to actually grow your business and get more leads and all that kind of stuff. And so then I'm looking at, well, what can you do for that? How do you generate more referrals? How do you get reviews, all that kind of stuff. So then I put that into the business growth section. And then I'm like, well, but I'm kind of missing a huge part here. And that part is the business aspect. How do you run a successful business? Because, with all the leads in the world and you sell all these, and you're good at sales and you have perfect performances, if you, start messing stuff up and forgetting about stuff, that's where everything comes downhill. So I'm like, okay, I got to put that in. And so then I teach you how to run your business, how to keep a successful DJ business running. And then, right now it is in the works is the marketing course. And how do you actually market? How do you brand? How do you, use Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, all kinds of different advertising. How do you get out there into the marketplace and generate more referral or more leads and all that kind of stuff? So that is how the whole DJ TJ training started. It's really, really interesting, but it all started with the performances, which is kind of why I named it the Peak Period Podcast, because first it's PPP, right? Peak Period Podcast kind of works. It's cool. But, peak period is essential to DJs. If DJs want to be successful, you got to learn about peak period. You got to learn how to have perfect performances every single time. And I know it seems like, oh no, that's not true. But really, as long as you follow this theory and look at the 4 stages of the night and figure out what's going to work and what doesn't work, and know the different types of songs, the carry-on songs and the power songs, and you get all this info, it really is possible to have perfect performances every single time and awesome performances. And so I give you the theory, I give you all that, but that's not all. I give you some extra stuff, and the extra stuff is like MC tips, because MC tips are always super, super important. And then, some different tonality things and some tips just about, having successful performances. And it can be used in the clubs or on the mobile side. I go over hyping and music selection and the group dances and requests. And so it's not only that, but you really get a ton of info in this course, the Perfect Performances course. And I put the course together thinking, when I had this issue of what is going on here, I'm like, okay, what would help me? So when I put together DJ TJ training, I looked at how did I grow my business? Right? What did 8 months ago, what did I need to know to grow my business? And so then I put everything that I learned over the last 8 months and what I needed to know and what I knew but didn't, all that kind of stuff, I put it together, and that's what the course is. That's what the whole pros package course is. And if you just want the perfect performances or the sales or the business techniques or growth secrets, you can get those separately. But altogether, having perfect performances is really important. And this is not about scratching. The whole DJ TJ training, I don't want to teach people how to DJ. That's not my goal. There are other things out there for that. This is the business aspect of the industry. And part of the business aspect is learning how to have perfect performances. I don't teach you how to beat match. I don't teach you how to scratch. I'm not into that. I'm into learning theory of, kind of human nature, and putting that into the perfect performances and putting that into the sales and the business techniques and the growth secrets and all that kind of stuff, and learning about people and putting that into the program, because that's really important. And, sometimes we think that our performances are good, but we don't really know that. We just kind of think it is, but that doesn't mean anything. So having performances that are awesome really, really can change your whole entire business, because once you get those good performances, people refer you because they're like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. I can't believe, Katie's birthday party was so much fun, or whatever it is. That club is so much fun, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of clubs, real quick, I'm going to put this in there. If you don't know about, I have a video on YouTube, and it's called, let me look it up right now. It's called It's Okay to Clear the Dance Floor, I think is what it's called. And basically it talks about rotating the bar, because that's kind of something that not many DJs talk about. And if you don't know about rotating the bar, it's about another theory. I did not develop this one. It's okay to clear the dance floor. It's on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. My channel is youtube.com/Tanner James, TANNERJAMES. And this is really, really, it's a very interesting theory. So what it is you play music. So let's say you're at a club and there's 100 people at the club, okay, just hypothetically. Now, really, of those 100 people, not everybody's going to be dancing, but let's just say everybody would like to dance, okay? We'll just kind of keep it super basic so that the numbers are relatively easy, okay? So let's say there's two kind of groups of people, all right? Let's say that there are now this only counts at a bar or a club. It doesn't count for like weddings, okay? So let's just say there are two groups of people. There's young people and old people. Now, I know this isn't like the best example, but it's a good example so that you can understand it. I'll tell you the real example at the end, but let's just say there's two groups, okay? There's 50 people in each, okay? And there's the young people and the old people. What you're going to do is you're going to play music for the young people first. Maybe 15 minutes of young people music, young person music. So maybe it's top 40, right? You're going to play 15, 20 minutes. You're going to get them dancing. Okay. They're going to have fun. They're going to get sweaty, maybe even 30 minutes. It depends, but you kind of have to figure it out. And depending on how many groups of people there are, maybe there's 4 and that would then be like 10 minutes. So you kind of have to figure that out. But what you're going to do is you're going to get 50 people dancing. Okay. They're going to be dancing. They're going to be having a good time. Okay. Great. What you're then going to do is you're going to switch genres to maybe 80s music for the older people. Now, the older people are going to come out and start dancing. Well, those young people, they may not want to dance to that music, right? They may want to they like their top 40, but they don't like the older music. So what you're going to do then, what they're going to do is they're going to be sweaty. They're going to leave and go to the bar. All right. So what that means is they're going to go to the bar and spend money. The DJ is not there to play music. The DJ is really there to make the bar money. So if you can make the bar money, that's real good. You're getting called back from that bar if you make money for the bar. So then you play music for the older crowd. The older crowd likes some music. They come dance. And then, however long later, maybe 20 minutes, you're like, all right, well, I want to get the younger people back out. They already had some time to drink. They got their drinks. They're drinking. Let's get them back out. So then you switch the music and play the younger music. Well, you're just going to keep doing this all night long. And you just rotate the groups, rotating the bar. You rotate the people to the bar. And this is really, really a cool concept because there's not a real DJ school out there. And so you kind of don't know unless somebody tells you, and that's not necessarily great. But once you learn this, it's really, really powerful. And the clubs that I've been at, they're like, wow, we really like it when you're there because we get a lot more tips. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's done on purpose, right? This whole thing is the idea that you rotate people around the bar and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it here. So and that is really, really important. So learn how to rotate the bar. Okay, so let me go back. When, those two groups of people, let's say that instead of the older and younger crowd, let's say it was top 40 and hip hop, rap. So you're just going to rotate back and forth. Play some top 40, and then you're going to switch to the rap. Play some top 40, switch to the rap. Maybe it's top 40 and EDM. So you're going to play the EDM, get people who like EDM, come out, and then switch it. So that's what you have to do. You have to find those two groups. Who is there that you can rotate? And that's kind of that's what you have to do. And each club is going to be different. You got to figure out what that club likes, what the demographics of that club are, what kind of music they would like, should like, and what they do like, that kind of stuff. Once you get that, you're killing it. Because you're going to do awesome. You're going to they're going to be amazing because people are going to love you because they don't want to just come out to the club to dance. They want to dance, but they want to drink, they want to talk. And so they aren't there only to dance. So next time you're at a club, now, this does not count for weddings. Okay, or any kind of other event. This only counts for events where it matters that they bring in money. So maybe like a fundraiser where they're selling drinks. This would it would work, but it wouldn't work at a wedding because that's not always exactly what you want. You want to get a full dance floor and you want to keep them dancing. And so in that case, you want to mix the music together and blend it all so that you keep everyone happy at the same time. So, maybe do 2 songs here, 1 song here, 3 songs here, 2 songs there, that kind of thing. You want to mix it in, but not necessarily just cut it off. So that is all about rotating the bar. Really, really important. So again, peak period, I'm going to wrap it up a little soon this time. Peak period is really, really important. If you want to learn about the 4 stages of the night, the different types of songs, some extra MC tips that I won't share on YouTube, hyping, song selection, and line dances, how to get into peak period, what not to play during peak period, all that kind of stuff. I'll give you the link. It's djtjacademy.com/perfect. If you want, you can just go to my website and then find the courses page or the advanced content, and then you can find the link from there, djtjtraining.com. Either one, it'll take you to the same place. And performance is super important. You know that. And if you can get into the minds of the people that are dancing and you can be able to read them and say, okay, I'm going to play these songs and I'm going to get them, and they're going to be in a peak period and it's going to be absolutely amazing and I can play whatever I want. That is awesome. So that's what you need to do. Highly recommend the course. It's not that expensive and it is unbelievable. And if you just take it and think about it and apply it, you will instantly see a difference in your performances. I guarantee it. It's crazy. This theory works. So if you have any questions, go ahead, hit me back. Subscribe on wherever you're listening to. So if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. If you're listening on iTunes, hit the iTunes subscribe button. And if you're just on the website streaming it, I really, really appreciate it. Hit me on social media. So I have a few different things. Facebook.com/DJTJTraining. Instagram, I have 2. So I have the DJTJ Training Instagram, and then I have my personal business, DJ1, which is DJTJ916. And then I also have the Twitter, DJTJ916. I don't really tweet that much though, so it's not awesome, but I do share some stuff on there. So definitely hit me there. And Snapchat, DJTJ916. And then YouTube, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. You can just search Tanner James or DJTJ Training or whatever, you'll find me. So again, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Really, really appreciate the support from you. I really, really, really do appreciate it. So thank you for checking it out, and I will be back to talk with you next week.